Some would say Saturday night is all right for fighting. In this case, Saturday night is all right for a high-stakes girls basketball game on the Big D in the island of Nicolet. The DeLaSalle Islanders at 8-5, one of the top teams in Class 3A, take on Mankato East. The Mankato East Cougars coming off a huge win over the #1 team in Class 3A, the Austin Packers. Mankato East, one of many teams in a wide-open Class 3A field. Greetings, everyone. I'm Mike Peden, joined by LaToya Turk. And LaToya, you and I, we get to see a lot of teams around the Twin Cities metro area throughout the course of the season. Tonight's a little different. Mankato East, a team that doesn't get to travel a whole lot outside the conference. They're in the Big 9. Because of the way their schedule is, they only get 4 non-conference games. DeLaSalle, one of them. But this Mankato East team, when you can come off a win against the #1 team in Class 3A, that says a lot about your potential.
Oh, yeah. You know, they're going to be ready to go. And especially with all the COVID precautions that are going on, it's just a privilege to be able to get to travel, and you get to get great competition. So coming off that win against Austin last night, that's going to be a plus, and it might even be a minus because I'm sure they had to play their hearts out. And so we're going to see what they have left in the tank to compete against this DeLaSalle team tonight.
Well, if the stats are an indication, Mankato East has plenty of competition to offer. Peyton Stevermer averaging 5 assists per game. As far as scoring is concerned, Mackenzie Schweim and Lexi Karge are leading the way. Karge also a solid rebounder. LaToya, I know you and I, we're accustomed to seeing Hopkins and Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, Como Park, and so we have some background information. That isn't the case tonight for Mankato East, but based on the research, what are you looking forward to most?
You know, this team is stacked with 2- and 3-sport athletes on their team, and so I know that they're going to be able to compete with this DeLaSalle team, and I'm really looking forward to see just how they manage this loaded backcourt that DeLaSalle has.
And that backcourt got a little bit deeper. The Islanders at full strength with IT Salaam clearing her COVID protocol. She wasn't able to play in Wednesday's loss to Holy Angels. That being said, you've got the double-double machine that is Savannah White. Syndey Runsewe, if she finds her group from three-point range, she can light it up. IT Salaam, another scoring leader on this team. DeLaSalle, how they have evolved and progressed in the second season with James Fassett at the helm has been quite impressive.
You know, it's going to be interesting as well to see what our freshmen do in the paint against this Mankato East team. Both teams have fairly talented guards in the backcourt, but the one plus that DeLaSalle boasts is they have 2 dominant post players on their roster. And so it'll be interesting to see how they hold up, even playing as freshmen this early.
White the point forward, and Ariana Meister could hold her own down low as well. We'll be back for the starting lineups. This is high school girls basketball. Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves. Holloman, good if it goes. Yes! Game winners. James, she's in trouble. Finds James, toss shot, it goes in! And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. Let's put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Beginning with the visitors.
Mike Peden and LaToya Turk back with you. LaToya, the view is always up close and personal here at DeLaSalle compared to a facility like Hopkins.
Yeah, the fans are right up on you, and it seems like the court is so close.
Well, it is. The starters are being introduced, as LaToya noted. A lot of multi-sport athletes on this Mankato East roster. Peyton Stevermer, a 3-sport athlete. Ellie Edberg, 3-sport athlete. Macy Burkles, Mackenzie Schweim, Lexi Karge. All the starters, 3-sport athletes. And that's just one of many tidbits.
Savannah White.
DeLaSalle being introduced.
Freshman guard.
Back at full strength. I'll be curious to see what IT Salaam can bring to the table. She wasn't available for that game against Holy Angels, and her presence was definitely missed in what was a close one. But we saw a great performance out of Meister, and we know White and Runsewe can light it up.
Well, the one thing about IT is that we know what she can do. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to be what the defense is going to give her tonight. And coming off of COVID precautions and not being able to play, I know she's itching to play. She's always been a fierce competitor and an amazing defender. And so offensively, we'll see what she shows us tonight.
To recap the starters, Mankato East, it's Peyton Stevermer, number 4, Ellie Edberg, number 12, Macy Burkholz, number 20, Mackenzie Schweim, number 22, and Lexi Karge, number 32. DeLaSalle will start Estelle Bass, number 1, Savannah White, number 2, Anisha Scott, number 12, IT Salaam, number 13, and Syndey Runsewe, number 15. A couple of D2 commits on the Mankato East roster. Mackenzie Schweim will play at MSU Mankato next year, joining the likes of Destiny Bursch. Janae Morton, one of the coaches there. And Lexi Karge will play at UMD, Minnesota-Duluth. And there's Savannah White, who will play at Wisconsin. Syndey Runsewe committed to play at Quincy in Illinois. White, that's a tough shot. White with the off-balance elbow J. You don't see that often.
Well, yeah, she's extremely athletic, and she pretty much is at will with a lot of the girls here because of her athletic ability. And Savannah's one of the few players that we see that can lead the floor offensively and defensively.
The lead pass was a little long. Runsewe couldn't catch up to it. Islanders with a quick 2-0 lead.
You know, Runsewe's jam is the flare out and shoot the 3.
We've seen that a few times. Mankato East beats the press. LaToya, feels like we're watching shades of last night with STMA.
Yeah, you know, when you put that full court press on, you do run the chance of a team getting back. And we talked about earlier this team having multiple players who play multiple sports, and one of those sports is track. And so they can get out and run the floor.
Runsewe with a flare to the free throw line that time. All 5 starters, 3 sport athletes for Mankato East. Ellie Edberg got the first bucket for the Cougars. And Lexi Karge lost her balance. Mankato East in Section 2-3A. Marshall has dominated that section for years, but when you look at the rankings and the QRF, it's Mankato East and West that are leading the field.
That's got to feel good for them. And, you know, we saw right away Lexi in that paint. She has a 6'2". She's listed at 6'2" on the roster. Regardless of what your height is, Savannah makes it very difficult for you to navigate in that paint. We saw her do it with Grace Massacoy the other night against Holy Angels.
One of the freshmen for DeLaSalle, Anisha Scott, gets on the board. Mankato East looking to break the press again. And that is 2 fast break buckets for the Cougars. Mackenzie Schweim gets on the board. LaToya DeLaSalle is going to have to be mindful of this. Otherwise, Mankato East could get a lot of uncontested looks.
Yes.
Salaam to White for 3. Bullseye.
And so, yeah, the backcourt player on this press just cannot come up. It's too much of a risk.
White averaging 16 points, 11.9 rebounds a game. 3 ball, looks long. But Mankato East will hang on to it as Anisha Scott couldn't catch up to the rebound in time. Mankato East, as we said, came off a big win over Austin. They split the series with their Big 9 conference rival. There's a drive.
Oh, they got lucky on that one. It's a little miscommunication there defensively on the switch.
The Mankato East getting the split with Austin. The Cougars and the Islanders next to each other in the most recent 3A poll, 6 and 7 if my memory is correct. Although that may change with Mankato East knocking off Austin and LaToya. When you look at the 3A field, as we said in the open, it could be a wide open race for the title.
You know, we have so many great athletes that are playing on any given night. Just who's going to show up.
Anisha Scott showing up on the drive. That gives DeLaSalle a 9-4 lead.
Yeah, great job of dropping that time.
Mankato East does recover. Karge with the kick out. White with the rejection. Savannah White all over the floor on defense. And here's a look at another one of the young guns, Jordan Johnson, who enters the game. But you look at the 3A field, Holy Angels, a contender, DeLaSalle overcoming a slow start. Como Park, they got a win over Austin earlier this month. They're playing Mountain Iron Buell as we speak. High-low play for Johnson is good.
I know, Johnson comes right in, and she's an offensive threat as soon as she comes in. She comes in with a lot of energy.
The Islanders on an 11-4 start. Entry pass into traffic. Mankato East gets it off of DeLaSalle. Now, keep this in mind. If you watched Wednesday's game on our YouTube channel, DeLaSalle got off to a fast start in the first and second half against Holy Angels, but couldn't sustain it. So we'll see if they can extend their consistency. And Karge is going to go, or I should say, that is Haley Petzel going in for the Cougars.
Yeah, that is going to be important for them to be able to sustain it. This team just played, Mankato East just played last night, so that may play into the favor for DeLaSalle today on being able to sustain this quick, high-energy offense that they're running.
DeLaSalle did have a couple of days to rest, although if you talk to players, they would rather play than practice. Salaam lost the handle. 11-6 to score, 13:26 to go in the first half.
Mankato East is showing discipline defensively as well.
Well, they've put together a solid resume. Their only two losses against St. Louis Park and the first meeting with Austin. That one was settled in double overtime. Mankato East ball, but I'm noticing a lot of agility and activity in the half-court defensive set for DeLaSalle.
Yes. Mankato East can make them pay for that, though, on getting back and recovering on that rotation. We've seen a couple of good defensive rotations from DeLaSalle, though.
How about a three? Macy Burkles gets on the board.
And that's a shooter they're going to need to keep their eyes on.
Burkles can light it up from three-point range. She hit 5 against Owatonna and Winona earlier this season. And on the season, Burkles is shooting 52% from three-point range.
And for DeLaSalle, I think the last few games that we've seen them, they've switched their starting lineup. They heavily sub, so it's any given night for these girls.
Well, they've got some depth. Extra pass, Burkles again. Follows her miss.
And they're really taking advantage of the rotation, defensive rotation or lack of for DeLaSalle on getting that ball in the middle and kicking it back out to their shooters.
But Scott got the deflection, and that allowed White to pick up the steal. Now Scott on the take. Blocked by the backboard.
Hey, she's feisty. I like her. I like her.
Anisha Scott, the 5'5" freshman.
She's not afraid. She plays defense. She gets her hands in there.
Averages about 6.4 a game.
And, the freshmen on this team are really seeing a lot of playing time. Malia White just checked in, number 32 for DeLaSalle.
That's a player that you and your daughter are familiar with Malia.
Yes, 2-year varsity starter over at Maranatha. Yep. She also has DeLaSalle lineage. Her dad or uncle or athletes here.
Well, now she's an athlete here.
Yes.
Mankato East used up the dribble. This is Mackenzie Schweim. 3 on the way. Off the back iron. White is fouled on the rebound. And we know DeLaSalle has some athletes, but going back to what you said about Mankato East, LaToya, 4 of the 5 starters are in track. So I would venture to say Mankato East deceptively quick.
And then we just had a mental lapse there. Just a quick little mental lapse from Savannah stepping over the line.
An inbound violation.
Yep.
We saw that last night. You can't afford those unforced errors no matter who the opponent is. But White using that long reach of hers. Hesitation. Mackenzie Schweim snuck in underneath, and she will shoot 2. Looks like she got hit. She says she's okay. Schweim, her dream job is a marine biologist.
That's a lot of science class. I don't think my allergies would allow for that.
Well, the aspiring marine biologist is 3rd on the all-time scoring list at Mankato East.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'll tell you what, though, if she becomes a marine biologist, I could see Schweim do some STEM PSAs down the road. I know that's something they emphasize, and Lexi Karge gets the 3-point play.
And that's one thing Ariana's going to have to learn very early, that Lexi's going to use that long body, and so she's definitely going to have to put a body on her, boxing out.
Salaam responds on the other end. Traveling call.
And Lexi's just having a little bit of trouble getting her footing. We saw a couple times in the paint, just getting that pivot and swinging that ball. But, they're only down by 1, so.
DeLaSalle, they had an 11-4 lead. Mankato East reeled them in a hurry. White to White, not related, at least not by my knowledge. That's the younger White, Malia. She loses the ball. Stevermer looking for help. Burkholz will reset.
So I got to recognize that mismatch there. Malia did a good job of keeping her out of the paint.
16-footer does not drop for Stevermer.
And you got 2
Savannah
shooters.
White. There's one of them, but her 3 is short. Rebound to Schweim.
And so they're going to keep working this. So Swan really wants to catch Malia down there.
Edberg threads the needle inside to Karge.
And so when they see that mismatch on that switch, they got to call for help, because she's going to keep bodying those little guards on that switch.
White powers her way in. Foul before the shot.
I was talking to some of the fans before the game, and they were players or students from Park Center High School, and they were here to support Savannah and Sid. And I said, well, if there was one thing that you could say about those ladies, what would you say? And they said they're walking buckets.
They have been all season. White a double-double, but she had trouble. Does get the inbound in. Runsewe to White. Trying to juke Karge. Malia White sends it back to Salaam for a reset. White trying to shake off Karge. Go ahead.
I'd like to see it, Savannah take Lexi and see if she can, make Lexi play outside defense on her.
Well, Savannah White decides the step back jumper is the way to go. Off the screen, Burkholz for three. Yes! Timeout, DeLaSalle. 17-15. Mankato East trailed by 7 early, but now they lead by 2.
Yeah, and this is not the team that you can be lax defensively on, and I think that's what the DeLaSalle coach is saying right now, is that you definitely got to get a hand up. Even if it's not your man on defensive rotation, you've got to get out there.
Mankato East looking to pick up another signature win. Macy Burkholz likes to cook, read, and she also owns several pets. Volleyball, track and field, and basketball are her 3 sports, and as we said before, a 3-point sharpshooter, 52%. If she can get that 3 to fall, that could open things up for Mankato East.
And it doesn't take long to see that, and when you know that there's a shooter out there, it's got to be all hands on deck. You know, if the rotation, the offense happens and she's open, you got to rotate over.
Burkholz already has a pair of 3s to her credit. White calling out a play. Savannah White, that is. Salaam to Malia. Runsewe, 3 ball. Another opportunity for the Cougars. Stevermer.
And here we go. We see Sid leaking out. Oh, he missed her.
Stevermer couldn't get past her coverage. Savannah White pulls up again. This time can't get it to drop. Burkholz collects the rebound. 8:47 to go in the first half.
Mankato East loves that pick and roll there.
Syndey Runsewe hit with a foul.
They're really taking advantage of a smaller guard getting caught on Lexi's back there.
As we stated, this is one of just 4 non-conference games. Mankato East in the Big 9. 12 teams in all, which means 22 games in conference play. Karge, established position, and gets the layup. White for 3. Off the mark. And DeLaSalle struggling to find their 3s. Mankato East slowly extending that lead. And LaToya, I think it's more of an issue in 4A, but it can create a problem of sorts with the Big 9 schools. They don't get to play a lot of games outside the conference compared to the Lake Conference, for example, so you don't always get a glimpse of the competition the same way other conferences do. But for Mankato East in 3A, with the field being more open, as we've got a hesitation move for Karge.
Listen, they got to figure out how to defend that pick and roll. Mankato East is running it from the top of the floor. They're running it from the corner, and Lexi's always involved in every single one of their pick and rolls, and so they got to have something to combat that.
Meister out of position down low, and then fouls Mankato East. Lexi Karge certainly rolling.
Today.
Rolling in the dough, rolling in the deep. She's on a roll. Stop me while I'm ahead, please.
Yeah, please.
21-15, largest lead of the game for the Cougars. Karge, the kick out. Stevermer for 3.
You know, there was that inside-outside game again. You know, if you take away the pick and roll, I wonder what that would look like for Lexi.
White is stripped by Edberg, and the Cougars will score the run. LaToya, after DeLaSalle went up 11-4, it is a 19-4 run in favor of the Cougars.
It's an execution, just being able to execute your sets here.
Anisha Scott was pinched off.
And Mankato East defensively is really clamping down on that middle. I would love to see DeLaSalle utilize their shooters that they have on the floor.
Entry feed to Karge, the turnaround.
You know, Mankato East has a standout dominant post player on their coaching staff, and so the expectation is that their post players are going to have great footwork, which we're seeing Lexi showcase tonight.
Well, Lexi Karge, one of 3 sisters who have scored offensive fouls, so hold that nugget. Drawing the charge was Peyton Stevermer. And LaToya, if you thought Schweim was into science, Peyton's favorite class is anatomy.
Mine's too. I like anatomy. I'm an anatomy buff. A&P, love the lab.
What about Grey's Anatomy?
You know, being a surgical nurse, Grey's Anatomy is fictional. My kids hate watching it with me because I always say, that's not how that happens.
A lot of things don't happen at Hollywood speed.
And you can see Lexi again calling for that pick and roll to catch that switch.
Burkles instead will try to go up herself. Timeout, DeLaSalle. Burkles says, you know what? I can roll my way to the bucket.
Yeah, and you can see DeLaSalle looks a little deflated right now. This game is still within hand. You know, it's some fine-tuning that they have to do.
It's a 23-4 run for Mankato East, and they lead 27-15. I was going to say with Lexi Karge, one of 3 sisters who are all members of the 1,000 Point Club at Mankato East.
Oh, that's nice.
So Lexi Karge has quite the lineage at Mankato East, and they are rolling. Well, when you pick up a win against Austin, that sends a signal of your talent, your potential. Lexi Karge leading the way with 12 points. Another favorite of hers, her favorite food is broccoli.
Oh.
She's a broccoli
We don't hear
buff.
that often.
Well, I like broccoli myself, so.
Do you like it steamed or raw?
I prefer steamed, but I'll
Yes.
eat it raw too.
Oh.
Steamed, raw, cream, not so much. Broccoli cheddar soup. And Lexi Karge on the season, leading the team in rebounds, 7.6, 14.8 points per game.
And Charity has 14 tonight.
Shooting 61.8% from the floor. And it's showing. White to Maester. Runsewe, elbow J.
Yeah, they're not giving DeLaSalle anything from on the inside. They're definitely making them shoot. And DeLaSalle just needs to make some adjustment with their spacing. They're a little tight. You know, her shooter was so open. She was so open.
Peyton Stevermer a little upset about that, but Lexi Karge went over and said, shake it off, next play. Stevermer, she knew it. She knew she made an error, but that happens in a 36-minute sport. You got to shake it off and move forward. Be a goldfish, as Ted Lasso would tell his players.
The spacing here.
Foul on Stevermer, but that was before the shot, and Runsewe beside herself because she finally got one to go in. And it's been a turbulent season of sorts for DeLaSalle. They got off on a slow start, didn't play a lot of games in December. Part of that was a holiday tournament getting canceled due to COVID protocols. A lot of games on the back end of the regular season schedule. It's going to be a test of stamina. Here comes IT Salaam, who draws the blocking foul as Stevermer was inside the restricted zone. That's going to be 2 fouls on the point guard, and IT Salaam to the line for 2.
Yeah, great decision by AT to go to the basket. Definitely would have liked to see her get the and one there. Maybe pulling up and just taking the short bank shot, but Mankato East is not letting anything come in that lane. Yeah, IT is a great first step.
She can also roll her tongue in unusual ways. Splits at the line. So Mankato East will have to navigate without their point guard. An opportunity for the Islanders to reel in this deficit. Runsewe, bullseye.
And that's one thing that we need to see from DeLaSalle tonight. And we know that Savannah and Sid can definitely connect on those transition threes.
Burkholz, the kick out, 3-ball, corner pocket. Ellie Edberg.
You know, it's one thing we say, don't leave the shooter. Just don't leave the shooter.
White pulls up, switch.
And we see the two seniors taking care of business.
They hooked up quite well against Holy Angels on Wednesday. And they have a lot of chemistry. Not only are they high school teammates, there's a deflection from White. Jordan Johnson with the pick.
That was a great play, though.
White to Runsewe this time. To finish up what I was going to say, White and Runsewe also AAU teammates with FBC Rio last summer. Peyton Stevermer back in the game. Remember, she has 2 fouls. Scott, turn around, leaves it short.
You know, when you're down, you cannot continue to allow the leak outs and the open players. You know, there have been several times down the floor where there's a player that is not covered. There has been no defensive assignment pickup, so.
And Mankato East will call a timeout with 2:55 left in the first half. 30-21 the score. Perhaps a chance for the Cougars to regroup. Rob Stevermer, 5th season as head coach at Mankato East. Used to coach at United South Central. And Dave Karge on hand to see all 3 of his daughters. A retired Blue Earth County deputy. Well, LaToya, I was going to say a while ago before that Mankato East run erupted, you don't get an opportunity, so unless you're in the south part of the state, we don't get to see a lot of these Big 9 schools. I know Austin will play Eden Prairie later this season. So it's refreshing to see what this team can do when you are limited. I've often thought that the Big 9 should do what the Northwest Suburban did and split between divisions to give each team a chance to play more non-conference games. It would help, I think.
Well, you know, basketball is
with
basketball.
The competition. Right, but I think it would help you schedule outside and get maybe a tougher opponent than.
Deep 3 from Runsewe there.
Syndey Runsewe. That's her second triple. That makes it a 6-point margin.
And, you know, once again, they almost got another leak-out transition bucket.
But like you said, basketball is basketball. I just think, especially for the 4A schools,
give you some more variety, more looks.
Right. Well, it gives them more preparation, too, because you're not going to see a Hopkins or a Minnetonka frequently in that region. But you are going to see Lexi Karge. She couldn't penetrate that time, and DeLaSalle has a chance to gain some momentum.
Her team did an excellent job of giving her space so she could do what she needed to do.
DeLaSalle trailed by as much as 12. It's now a 6-point margin.
And I just like to see.
Oh, nice cut. Rebound, put back.
I see you, I see you.
And Anisha Scott will see herself to the free throw line.
Hey, she's making a name for herself today. She's all over the place. Tip drill.
Anisha Scott, as we said before, doesn't score a lot, but came up with a big bucket and a big 3-point play there.
Yeah, her team definitely needed that push right there.
So DeLaSalle has clawed their way back. They're on a 12-3 run. They started the game on an 11-4 run. Mankato East erupted with a 23-4 advantage, and now DeLaSalle with the response.
Scott's doing it as a point guard. You know what? I'm noticing she's forcing her player to use her left hand.
Burkholz finds that's not Karge, that's Mackenzie Schweim. Burkholz wants the three. Side fade. Almost got it. DeLaSalle can tie it, but they're going to go for the transition play instead.
Great leak out run there by Sid.
Runsewe up to 8. You don't see her leak out like that often. Burkholz drawing a lot of coverage. Needs help now. 5-second violation. Burkholz had nowhere to go, and listen to the DeLaSalle fans.
She's read her player. She's making her use that left hand and forcing her to use that left hand. And Ariana did a good job that time of coming over and help side defense and then rotating back to prevent the three-point shot. Great job, DeLaSalle.
DeLaSalle can take the lead. Under a minute to go. They trailed by 12 not too long ago. James Fassett telling them, take your time. No shot clock, of course. Not yet, anyway. Meister got it. On the line.
And, that's a sweet spot for her. Moser actually has the ability to shoot deep outside. And once her and Jordan are able to hook up on that high-low, they're going to be unstoppable.
Karge, the lob. Schweim sees an opening on the baseline. Denied.
And again, we saw DeLaSalle rotate over on help side defense there.
Mankato East with the arrow. 15.9 seconds on the clock. Or do they have the arrow? Yes, they do. What a first half. We say basketball is a game of runs, and this first half, a shining example of that. Tough pass. Runsewe with the steal. Is he going to take it herself? Yes!
I almost yelled in the mic, let's go.
Well, that's what Syndey Runsewe was yelling to her teammates.
I think that was a 3-on-1 transition there.
We're used to seeing Syndey set up from three-point range. We don't see her drive often.
Yeah, I know over the summer, she's worked with her dad and some trainers a lot, so she's added a few things to her bag here.
Burkholz gets the three off. It does not drop. So DeLaSalle ends the first half on a 19-3 run to counter the 23-4 run by Mankato East. And it's 34-30. DeLaSalle leads Mankato East at halftime. LaToya, a lot of basketball analysts around the Metro were circling this game on the calendar, and we're getting quite the show.
Yes. DeLaSalle made some great defensive adjustments there to slow down Mankato East from the three-point line and their rotation defense, which really helped them get on that run. Their seniors stepped up, scoring, dropping the buckets, and then Scott at the point guard position. As a freshman, she really showed a lot of leadership out there.
But don't count out Mankato East. If Lexi Karge can establish position down low, she could do a lot of damage. Stick around. An exciting second half is coming your way. This is high school girls basketball.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between.
Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Mike Peden and LaToya Turk back with you in this high-octane game of runs. DeLaSalle leads Mankato East 34-30, ending the first half on a 19-3 run to answer a 23-4 burst from Mankato East. The leading scores: Syndey Runsewe has 11 to lead the Islanders. Savannah White has 9. Anisha Scott with 7. Mankato East, Macy Burkholz has 8. Lexi Karge has 12. Schweim and Edberg have 5 each. LaToya, this is turning into a battle of Burkholz and Karge for Mankato East and White and Runsewe for DeLaSalle.
Yeah, and we've seen it before from both of these teams. When you look at the stats from Mankato East, that's what you've traditionally seen in the last couple of times we've watched DeLaSalle. We've seen Savannah and Runsewe take over. I was like, did I say the same name? Savannah and Runsewe take over the game, as they should, as senior leaders.
You know what? For a lot of opponents, they probably are just one entity. It seems like they're one person.
Pick your poison.
So we'll see which wins out, which trend wins out in the second half, because on Mankato East, they ran some pick and rolls for Karge to great success, and for DeLaSalle, you've got White, who starts the second half with a 3.
That was so pretty.
But we're also seeing a dynamic out of Runsewe we don't see often. Usually it's 3-pointers, but you got a couple of drives, got a 3-point play. Long way to go, though. High-low for Karge. And White hasn't found a way to stop her yet.
Yeah, if she catches you on your back, it's a bucket for her.
Salaam to White. Karge closes in quickly. So White uses Edberg as a pick.
Yeah, and if Savannah gets Lexi out there on the perimeter, her team can really just clear out, and she's showing us that she can take her.
You don't see that often, using a teammate as a pick, or an opposing player's teammate as a pick. Mankato East turns it over. Mankato East again coming off a big win over Austin. DeLaSalle looking for a statement win. They did beat Holy Angels in the first meeting of the season, so they got a split there. Holy Angels wasn't at full strength, though.
And we've traditionally seen DeLaSalle come out really quick at the beginning of the halves.
IT Salaam drives and scores. This game no exception, but can they sustain it? The Islanders up by 9. Stevermer, baseline J. Timeout, Mankato East. That is Peyton's first basket. Last week, Peyton had a season-high 10 assists against Owatonna and her favorite athlete, Kobe Bryant, who is a popular choice. Of course, a couple days ago, the anniversary of his death, and one of the most inspirational athletes for a lot of these players out here. Kobe Bryant, one of the legends.
This was the song that Cypress Hill that we ran out to my senior year of high school at Washburn.
Cypress Hill, okay. Yeah. It's also a song you'll hear at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison. Jump around.
Jump around,
yes. Peyton Stevermer, who got that last bucket, likes to make tie blankets. And she's also involved in the choir and link crew in addition to her sports. DeLaSalle coughs it up. Both teams with 3 timeouts left. Stevermer finds Karge. Goes up on White again, but that time White sealed her off. Scott on the run. Went off a Mankato East player's foot. I like how you talked about seeing Mankato East before, LaToya. You and I don't think we've seen them in person.
Right.
Not this season. This is the first time I've seen any Mankato school.
Yeah.
Right. Fake it till you make it, right? No. No faking here. White for three, off the back iron. You know, it's always fun to see a new team, see a team we don't always get to witness. Runsewe hit with a foul. That's her second. And Mankato, well, they've got some talent. MSU Mankato having a solid year in the NSIC, so they may not get the headlines that the U of M does, but Mankato is a solid basketball destination. Off the inbound, clutch move.
Yeah, and they just got lost on that defensive possession there.
Clutch move in more ways than one for Mackenzie Schweim. Here comes Salaam, who gets the friendly bounce.
And we've seen her 2 times be able to take her defenders, you know, right to the basket there and score.
Mankato East tried to go inside on the cut, but Schweim couldn't catch up to the pass. Pass to Runsewe, look out.
That's what we're used to seeing.
No bucket for DeLaSalle, though. 3 on the way. That looked a little rushed on the part of Ellie Edberg.
Yeah, and DeLaSalle's got to
Runsewe again.
get some buckets here.
DeLaSalle leads by 7. Mankato East looking for another signature win. Stevermer left alone. Missed the 3. Schweim blocked by White.
You know, Savannah, even though she has the ability to run the point guard position, she does an amazing job of controlling the paint.
White leading the team in rebounds and assists.
You know, and that's one thing DeLaSalle I will commend them on is their persistence in their help side defense. Sometimes it, you know, they get backdoored for it, but they're definitely working on their help side defense tonight.
Timeout. Go ahead.
Mankato East just needs to find a fix for that help side rotation for them. Maybe swinging the ball a little more and finding their open shooter.
Mankato East calling a timeout. They have 2 remaining. Going back to White, she had 6 assists and 7 blocks 2 weeks ago against Maple Grove. So Savannah can do it all. Again, you wonder how she'll fit in Wisconsin, a program that doesn't have a lot of history on their side, but it is an opportunity with Marissa Mosley taking over Wisconsin, trying to build up the ranks. We'll have to see how she meshes with the program, but you can understand why she's going to the Big Ten next year.
For Mankato East?
No, for Big Ten, not Big 9.
Gotcha.
Big Ten, that's Wisconsin.
Yep.
In the part of Savannah White. And looking ahead for DeLaSalle, of course, they've got Minnehaha Academy later in the season. They've got a game with Champlain Park February 23rd. That would be a fun one to see this DeLaSalle team go up against the speedy guards of Champlain Park. I know you're looking forward to see Ava Holman in a game. And DeLaSalle forcing the turnover. White inside to Jordan Johnson, lost the handle.
You know, with time, she'll be able to perfect that move to the point where she won't even have to put the ball on the floor.
3 on the way for Schweim, pure.
Bottom of the net.
The first triple for Schweim. She goes up to 10 unofficially, and it's now a 4-point margin. Mankato East looking to make a move again. Cross-court skip deflected by Burkholz. And here comes Lexi Karge. White left alone, launches the 3, short that time. And Schweim had positioning for the rebound. Ellie Edberg put on the brakes in time, hands it off to Burkholz. Had an opening for a minute. Schweim fakes the 3.
Yeah, I don't think she realized how much of an opening she had there.
I was surprised she didn't launch it. She had a couple threes already. And go ahead.
With Jordan in the game, there's definitely an opportunity there for Mankato East to make a run. But we'll see how they make that adjustment.
Runsewe skips it over to Scott. Here's Johnson. She's going to try to muscle her way in against Karge and succeeds. That takes some guts. And I think Karge took that personally. She wants the answer, but she won't get it. Jordan Johnson with a couple of fine plays against one of Mankato East's best. Deep three for Runsewe. Well, there's someone who has the green light.
That's all good.
Burkholz. Karge.
That's exactly where Savannah wants Lexi, outside of the paint. And you got a shooter over in the corner there.
DeLaSalle's fans applauding that defensive set by the Islanders, forcing a deep three. Salaam goes up, misses the layup. Both schools with lengthy histories in the sport of basketball. Although for Mankato East, they have yet to reach the state tournament in this century. Karge decides not to try.
Lexi has her pin so deep, she can just go right up. Yeah, she had her pin so deep the first time, too, and Jordan didn't put her hands up. She could have just went up, and it would have been the same call.
And Karge will shoot two, 55.8% free throw shooter. The last time Mankato East reached the state tournament in 1998. They did win a championship in the two-class era back in 1987. You want to know how long ago that was? I was not born yet when Mankato East won their first and only state championship. There also was no three-point line back then.
Yeah, so we got a new rotation in here for DeLaSalle. And our veterans are out, Savannah and Runsewe, and so we're going to see how Mankato East responds to this. Might be in their advantage, and it might not be.
Karge splits. That makes it a 5-point game. 45-40. Karge with the tip. Three on the way. Bullseye. That was Maya McNeil making her first appearance in this game. Baseline drive. Burkholz left it short. A chance for the Islanders to go up big. Salaam speeds her way down court. Dead ball rebound to the Cougars.
I don't think I've ever seen a guard that small tip the ball before, and Scott's did it several times today.
And I don't know if you can see it from here, but a lot of banners for DeLaSalle basketball. They might have to rework them or get another one because the girls' banners
running out of space. Yes,
with all the state championships. They've won 4. Most recently in 2019. High-low for Karge. Out of position, but Karge recovers for the putback.
Yeah, second chance opportunity there for her. That first possession, she was a little underneath the basket.
That's what the greats do. They compensate. Johnson got bumped around as if she was in a bumper car circuit. Incidental contact, nothing malicious, but she got pinballed around down low.
Yeah.
Anisha Scott anticipating the pass.
Said not
and
today.
snuck up, right. She snuck up from behind on Schweim. And then she runs into traffic. Loose ball.
It's always interesting when you have a smaller guard pinned on you and you automatically assume that you can post them up. But she's very quick, so she just came around, released and came around, which is smart technique that she used.
Mankato East holds the arrow. We can't see it from here because we're behind the scores table. It's the one vantage point we can get. DeLaSalle, a smaller gym, of course.
And there again, they saw that help side defense for DeLaSalle.
Edberg out to Karge. We haven't seen Burkles attempt a three in this half.
Well,
now
there
she
you
fires
go.
away. I think Johnson got a piece of it. And Mankato East stayed in bounds. Burkles will try again. Pure. How did Mankato East stay in bounds?
Well, like we said, we have 3 sport athletes out here, and just the pure athleticism allows you to be able to do that.
Athleticism and floor awareness. Johnson baits Karge on the pump fake and will shoot 2. Jordan Johnson averaging 8.6 points per game and 6 rebounds. I get the sense that she'll be taking over for Savannah White on the interior next year. $8:30 to go.
And you can see the DeLaSalle coach, he's starting his rotations. Savannah and Sid are on their way back in. Sid's already back on the floor. But I don't think she's going to come back out for the rest of the game.
Johnson splits at the line. 49-45. This is a big game. Salaam was there. That was a sloppy pass on the part of Mankato East. And it leads to a bucket for Maya McNeil. You got to be careful.
You know what?
DeLaSalle.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Now they send help.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. But you saw Mankato East sending help that time. DeLaSalle, they're too quick.
And with that full court defense, you're bound to get one.
Burkles, the runner, got it.
She's really showed up big for her team today. She's very disciplined and patient.
This game's certainly up for grabs. Karge with the steal. This isn't just a non-conference friendly. There's a lot at stake here because if both make it to the state tournament, this matchup will play into seeding. Burkles, this time she's cut off. Karge wants to go inside, lost the handle.
And Savannah just makes people very nervous around that rim. We've seen a lot of great players fumble, even if she's behind them, not even, cutting their path to the basket off.
DeLaSalle ball, 7:06 to go. As we said, ranking points on the line here. Because whether one or both schools make it to state, the coaches seed the field. This will be one of those games that could influence the seed line. White, short. Haley Petzel with the rebound. And I've noticed DeLaSalle going deeper into their bench. Mankato East, they've had 6 players on the floor almost exclusively.
I wonder if they're going to notice a mismatch with
As Stevermer tried the ISO play, that's not going to work against White. Syndey Runsewe
gets her own rebound.
She's been hustling today, but she was hounded, and Mankato East gets another stop. But what do they have against White. Do they have an answer for her? Savannah White disrupting a lot of sets as of late. Karge looking for a target.
You know, Mankato East got to
Savannah
be
White.
careful.
Savannah White missing the layup. Jump ball, DeLaSalle with the arrow. Mankato East, they look a little hesitant here in these offensive sets, and DeLaSalle is picking up on that.
Yes, and Savannah's composing herself very well. Those last 2 shots she's taken under with contact, and she hasn't gotten a call on them.
DeLaSalle, if they sense apprehension on the other end, they will move in for the dagger. McNeil rejected by Karge.
Is volleyball one of her sports?
You're correct.
Yes.
Volleyball is one of her sports.
Well, there you go.
White tried to hook up with Meister, and LaToya, even though Mankato East, their apprehension on offense has hurt them, they've been coming up with a series of stops on defense.
Yeah, and a lot of those defensive stops have been at the hands of the offensive players, you know, making some small little errors there.
You'll take him any way you can get, but it was set up by that block from Karge.
Yes.
That last one, I should say. Still a 4-point game, 5:20 to go. Mankato East in trouble again. And a foul. Now both teams have a lot of fouls to give. This has been a loosely called game. You've noted just a moment ago that we're seeing some contact. Officials are letting them play. You know what? I respect that because
Yes.
most of the bumps that we've seen are just incidental.
Yes.
Off the inbound, Schweim converts the feed from Stevermer.
And now it's going to be critical that everyone executes. They move their feet, they rotate, they box out, and they make good, solid passes these last 5 minutes since the game is so close.
It was a game of runs in the first half. DeLaSalle went up by 9. It's a 2-point margin, and it has been tight for the last several minutes. 4:52, LaToya. I'm not sure what to expect. DeLaSalle, they've had some struggles on offense. Defensively, they've done well. I'll be curious to see who wins this battle of attrition.
Yeah, like I said, I just think it's going to come down to execution, running your sets, good clean passes, boxing out, and just basketball fundamentals in these last 5 minutes. It's going to be who comes out the winner.
A few more fun facts on the part of Mankato East. Ellie Edberg, one of the 3 sport athletes, hit a game-winning triple against Marshall earlier this season. Wants to be an elementary teacher for a career. Something your oldest daughter can relate to. And Haley Petzel, who's come off the bench, also wants to be a teacher. Her favorite athlete, one of the best, His Airness, Michael Jordan. 4:52 remaining in the second half. By the way, if you want to support TSB Television, we have 3 ways for you to do so: Patreon, PayPal, and Cash App. Patreon.com/TSB Television. PayPal and Cash App at TSB Television. Every contribution you make goes to our sports coverage. We've had a busy season. We've enjoyed every minute of it, and we would like to keep that gravy train going if we can.
And so at the beginning of the game, I said I was a little concerned about this Mankato East team playing back-to-back games, and it hasn't slowed them down at all.
I think at this stage of the season, you're used to it. Runsewe, left alone. Rebound will go to Mankato East. White was the last one to touch it.
You know, her and Savannah connect often on that skip court pass.
Runsewe has yet to score in the second half.
And that's going to be critical for DeLaSalle.
And points have been hard to come by for both teams. That's what's going to make these final few minutes really fun to watch. Push foul on Jordan Johnson. That is her fourth.
You know, one of the Minnesota State High School League rule is that you can't have a hand on the player, but once they receive the ball, you have to take your hand off.
So Jordan Johnson now has 4 fouls. She'll go out. Ariana Meister goes back in. DeLaSalle still has 2 to give. Mankato East, if it comes to foul and chase, they have 5.
You know, and they're
Whoa.
keeping that hand on Lacey is only going to get them in foul trouble. They've got to release once she gets the ball.
Ellie Edberg, I don't think she was expecting that. But Peyton Stevermer goes coast to coast. That was set up by an incidental deflection on Edberg. And we're tied at 51.
You know, they got a shooter. They got Runsewe sitting over there in that pocket, and if they could get that skip pass to her.
There's the skip. But Burkles closes in quickly. Now they've got McNeil open. Airballs it. Chance for the Cougars. They streak down court and finish in transition. Ellie Edberg hauls in the touchdown pass. And the Cougars retake the lead.
You know, and you can see Mankato East has opened up the zone defense against DeLaSalle. So they really got to see some movement in the middle there.
Runsewe moves down low. Misses the layup. Stevermer wins the scrum for the ball. One-on-one with Scott. White blocks her from behind. And a foul on the Cougars. Now they did have 5 to give, so not the worst time for it.
So we see freshman Malia White checking back in.
They have it tabulated incorrectly on the board. They gave it to Scott and Edberg. The foul was on Edberg, so that was just her first. DeLaSalle can tie or take the lead here. White swarmed instantly.
I was going to say, I might put Runsewe at the top of that key, so when Savannah gets it in the middle, she's available as a shooter.
DeLaSalle trying to penetrate inside. White had an opening for a moment. They swing back out. Now Meister. White collects the long carom. Those long threes lead to long caroms. White draws the blocking foul on Karge. That is just her second. Crucial possession here for the Islanders with 2:02 remaining.
Yeah, they're
Go ahead.
you said they're just having a hard time with that ball rotation. And Mankato East has really opened up and extended that zone. They would just dive. It's open.
Daring DeLaSalle to shoot. Meister missing again. Burkles with a burst of speed. Beats White to the rim.
You know, if they get it over their line, they probably need to call a timeout.
Malia White, she can hit threes. Got it!
That was big time for Malia right there. Big time for her. You know, she struggled a little bit, but way to continue to have confidence and put that shot up.
1 point game, 55-54. 1:23 to go.
And it speaks volumes for her teammates, too, to trust her. And this is not a possession you want to play with, especially with those two with the ball.
Karge tries to fake White. Fade away, no good.
And now, you know, the ball needs to stay in Savannah's hands. I'd get it right back to her.
Malia White again. Yes!
Yeah, boy! Way to have confidence, Malia. Way to show up.
Timeout. Cougars, they have 1 remaining. Malia White averaging just 2.6 We know she can hit threes. She showed as much. I remember seeing her knock down a few as a 7th grader. Her foot wasn't as polished back then. How about Malia White? An afterthought. She comes up with 2 clutch triples.
You know, and as a freshman coming off the bench, not seeing a lot of playing time, and to come in and have the confidence and take that shot and then take it again, that speaks volumes for her confidence and her skill set. So I'm really proud that her team trusted her and they passed her the ball and that she was able to knock it down.
Now, DeLaSalle has an interesting situation here with 44.5. They still have 2 fouls to give. Do you use them here? Do you use them, or do you try to get a defensive stop?
No. We've seen DeLaSalle has made enough unforced errors tonight that I would just try to get a stop.
So Malia White also takes part in Student Council, Bible Fellowship, the National Junior Honor Society. Also participated in gymnastics for a time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Malia has close to a 4.0 GPA.
She's a smart cookie. Now DeLaSalle again has 2 fouls to give if they wish to use them. Karge wants the ball. She's got a favorable matchup against Meister. And she has a chance for a 3-point play. Karge capitalizing on the switch.
Yeah, and those are learning lessons, you know. She's a younger defensive player, and, you know, it's a learning lesson.
A free throw to give the Cougars the lead. No!
Now Savannah's got to do what she does. Keep the ball in your hand, Savannah.
Mankato East brings the pressure. DeLaSalle does have 2 timeouts left if they need them. And the Cougars still have 3 fouls to give. They use one of them here. 14.9. LaToya, what a finish this is turning out to be. Clutch plays from Malia White, a clutch bucket from Lexi Karge. This is what you want. This is what we love to see as basketball fans.
Yes, and also strategy. You know, your coaches have to know their player personnel, keep the ball in the right person's hands, draw up the right plays, and just talk to them about it. Whatever just happened in the last minute is over. We have 14.9 seconds left, and so it's a new game.
This is why we love coming to games with top-tier teams. The strategy, the athleticism, the resiliency, all of that coming into play here. Now, DeLaSalle still has 1 timeout left if they have trouble on the inbound. Do you think they set up for Malia White again, or did they try Savannah or Syndey? Who do you go to in this situation?
Well, they have options, and so I would set it up for options. I wouldn't set it up just for one particular player, but every single player on the floor right now has the ability to score, and so I would set something up for each and every player to have an option.
We're tied at 57. Well, Syndey Runsewe, again, has not scored this half, hasn't connected on a 3. We did see her score on a couple of drives. Savannah White has a couple of field goals. Malia White has those 2 threes. Maya McNeil has 5 as well. I don't know if they have an option A or B, but like you said, they do have a few go-tos here.
And, you know, my message to them would be, A, get the ball in, and B, knock your free throws down if you need to.
That's the first step.
No turnovers. And
Burkholz, another foul. That's her 3rd, and now the Cougars with 1 left.
And so now Ariana knows that she's coming for her. She's got to set a good pick to get her open.
That took off 1.5 seconds. We're tied at 57. And now Mankato East uses their last foul to give. Now the Cougars have to be careful. Another foul, and DeLaSalle goes to the line. 11.7. DeLaSalle going to the backcourt. Scott. Oh. I don't know about this strategy. I wonder if Mankato East is banking on DeLaSalle perhaps not making these free throws. They can be a little shaky.
Yes. So now we have more of a defensive stopper player to come in the game. And so at this point, DeLaSalle needs to match up. They need to know where their shooters are and definitely put a little pressure on that inbound play.
Yeah, I just don't know about the strategy here because now DeLaSalle has the lead.
And it's been big time for the freshmen here on the DeLaSalle roster tonight. They've really showed up.
LaToya, I don't know about you, but I really did not like that move fouling Scott because now Mankato East is going to have to come up with something in 7.5 seconds, make or miss.
Well, here's the deal. They have it in them. You have 7.5 seconds to get the ball in and get across the court and set something up. And this team, these girls have played together for so long, they know each other, and it's something that they can definitely do. And so DeLaSalle is going to need to make sure they knock down this free throw and cover the three and don't foul on a shot from Lacey or any of the shooters that might put up a three-point shot from Mankato East.
Now, I don't know if that foul was intentional, but I would have preferred, if it were me, try to play a full defensive set and make them earn it. Don't give them a free trip to the line because here's the situation. Mankato East is out of timeout, so if Anisha Scott misses this, that's going to eat up clock.
But without a shot clock, DeLaSalle could have held the ball. And even, 7.5, she could have held it in the backcourt and not got a violation.
Right. I think what I'm saying is I would have, if I had to, I would have tried to settle this in overtime. Don't give them a free trip to the line. So let's see what happens. Scott makes both.
And that's smart. They have Savannah playing Lexi.
No timeouts for the Cougars. Stevermer gets it across. She's got to go up. No good. That'll do it. DeLaSalle wins 59-57. A strange ending, LaToya. I don't like the decision to foul with 7.5 to go, but DeLaSalle takes advantage of the situation, and they pick up their biggest win of the season.
Yeah, they played a tremendous game here. They really showed us a lot with their help side defense and just being able to cover the players in the paint. Savannah has done a great job defensively covering top players inside and outside of the paint.
That's why we play them, and I'm not saying my ideas are better than anyone else's. We're all going to have different opinions on it. This was a great game, though, a lot of fun, and one heck of a Saturday night battle. This was worthy of a Saturday night primetime showdown. We'll try to get a word with some of the DeLaSalle players before we head out. This is high school girls basketball. The Islanders beat the Cougars 59-57. Earlier in the week, we highlighted DeLaSalle's mix of, let me try that again. Earlier in the week, we highlighted DeLaSalle's mix of leadership and youth and daring do. Well, tonight it was a pair of youth who won it for the Islanders in a photo finish, 59-57. Malia White and Anisha Scott. Malia, we'll start with you since you're next to me. You were an afterthought as far as the score column was concerned, but you hit a couple of threes late in the game after you trailed by 4 to give DeLaSalle the lead. What was your mindset when you fired away?
My mindset was just focus on your shot. I know I can make it. I've practiced it a million times. I just knew it was going in.
And even though it technically wasn't the game winner, how exciting is it for you to hit a couple of big buckets like that? What does that say about your confidence?
Oh, it's real exciting. I've been working on my confidence lately, and this great crowd we had out here made it even better.
What would you make of this season? You came in, this is your first year, if I'm correct, with the Islanders. New surroundings for you, this team going through a transition. How are you fitting in?
You know, I'm just finding my spot on my team. I have some great players around me. My team's great. We're just like a family over here. They're all like my sisters, so, you know, we're doing great.
Anisha, it's not too often you get to claim go-ahead free throws. I know everyone dreams of making the go-ahead bucket, but I think go-ahead free throws work just as well. What was your reaction when you got fouled? 7.5 seconds left. I don't know if that was the plan or not, but you knew you were going to the line 1-and-1. What do you tell yourself in that situation?
It's a big situation, so, you know, you have to get your mindset right and make sure that all the energy and you clear your mind and you just know, you just have your confidence and know that it's going in.
How nervous were you going to the free throw line in that scenario?
Not too nervous. At first it was kind of nervous, but me and my dad are in the gym 24/7 working on our free throws, so I knew they were going in.
What did you talk about during the timeout in between free throws, and how well do you think you executed in those final 7.5 seconds?
We executed good because we knew they were going to try and foul because they had fouls to give. But we didn't know they were going to try and foul us to get on the line, so it's kind of an adjustment, but we did it.
Sometimes it's making the most and ad-libbing, capitalizing on the situation, and you certainly did. And even though free throws don't always make the highlight reel, knowing that you can make them in a clutch situation, how do you think that will help your confidence?
It boosts it a lot because now I know what people expect and now I know what I can do.
And I guess opponents will be a little less daring to foul you now, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Arguably, this win, perhaps your biggest of the season against a team that knocked off the top team in Class 3A yesterday in Austin. So with a win like this, you've been on a roll as of late. How do you think that signals the growth and maturity of this team as the season has moved along?
I think it signals a lot because we were on a tough streak at the start of the year at 3-3. We were kind of discouraged, but now that we're on this winning streak, we're just going to keep going.
Yeah, I agree with her. We had a tough start. We had some losses and we had a couple wins, but we came together as a team and made our team bonding, and now we're here where we're at on a winning streak.
Starting another one at least, and a great way to do it. Before we go, you want to say hi to anybody?
I want to say hi to my mom and my dad, and of course my sister, Anicia.
I want to say hi to my mom that is out of town, my dad, and all my siblings that are watching.
Well, these two young guns are going to provide many moments in the years to come for DeLaSalle. They come up big tonight as the Islanders win 59-57 over the Cougars. Thanks for stopping by. Congrats on the win, and remind me not to play horse against either of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Malia White and Anisha Scott, that wraps up our coverage here from Nicollet Island. For LaToya, Turk, and the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Peden. Thank you for watching high school girls basketball.